The rain hammered against the windows of our small cottage in the Cotswolds, mimicking the tempest brewing inside me. For 20 years, Imogen and I had built a life here, a life I believed was founded on unwavering love and mutual respect. I am Aelric, a 46-year-old IT consultant, and until recently I considered myself a fortunate man. We weren't wealthy, but we were comfortable, surrounded by rolling hills, quaint villages, and the comforting predictability of our routines. Imogen, with her fiery red hair and equally fiery spirit, had always been my anchor, the one who grounded me. Or so I thought. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. Imogen began working later, claiming increased workloads at the local bakery she managed. "Just covering for Bethany, Aelric. You know how it is," she'd say, her voice laced with a weariness that tugged at my heart. I'd offer to make dinner, to run her a bath, anything to alleviate her stress. She'd accept gratefully, but there was a distance in her eyes, a detachment I couldn't quite decipher. I chalked it up to exhaustion, a temporary blip in our otherwise harmonious existence. I was wrong, so tragically wrong. The first real red flag came in the form of a misplaced scarf. A silk scarf, a vibrant emerald green, a color Imogen never wore. I found it tucked between her side of the bed and the nightstand. "Where did this come from?" I asked, holding it up. She paled slightly, a flicker of panic in her eyes. "Oh, that, Bethany gave it to me. A thank you for covering her shifts. I meant to show you." It sounded plausible, but something felt off. The scarf felt expensive, too luxurious for a simple thank you gift. I pushed the thought aside, attributing my unease to my overactive imagination, a consequence of too many late nights spent troubleshooting complex computer systems. Then came the phone calls. Late-night calls, whispered conversations in the hallway, hushed tones that ceased abruptly when I approached. "Wrong number," she'd say, her voice tight, or "It's just Bethany again, needing help with the schedule." I started to feel like a detective in a bad movie, piecing together fragments of information, each one more unsettling than the last. I tried to talk to her, to express my growing anxiety, but she'd brushed me off, accusing me of being paranoid, of not trusting her. "After all these years, Aelric, you think I'd lie to you?" Her words stung, and I retreated, ashamed of my suspicions. The final straw, the moment that shattered my world, came on our 20th wedding anniversary. I had planned a surprise weekend getaway to Bath, a city we both loved. I'd booked a charming little hotel, made reservations at our favorite restaurant, and even arranged for a horse-drawn carriage ride through the city streets. I presented Imogen with the itinerary that morning, my heart brimming with excitement. Her reaction was underwhelming. "Oh, Aelric, that's lovely," she said, her voice flat. "But I can't go." "What? Why not?" My voice was barely a whisper, the joy draining from my face. "Bethany's ill, really ill. I have to cover all her shifts this weekend. I can't leave her in the lurch." The excuse was flimsy, transparent. Bethany had been ill a lot lately. "Imogen, this is our anniversary, 20 years. Can't someone else cover for her?" I pleaded. Her eyes hardened. "No, Aelric, no one else can. It's my responsibility." And with that she turned and walked away, leaving me standing there alone in the rain, the meticulously planned weekend getaway crumbling in my hands. That night I couldn't sleep. The scarf, the phone calls, the constant excuses, it all coalesced into a sickening realization. I had to know the truth. I couldn't live with the uncertainty any longer. I waited until Imogen was asleep, her breathing deep, and even then I carefully retrieved her phone from the nightstand. I knew it was a violation of her privacy, a betrayal of the trust we had once shared, but I felt I had no choice. I needed answers. Her phone was password protected, but after a few attempts, I managed to guess it, our anniversary date, a cruel twist of fate. My hands trembled as I scrolled through her messages. The first few were innocuous, mundane exchanges with friends and family. Then I found it, a thread of messages with a contact saved as Gareth Bakery Supplies. The messages were explicit, passionate, filled with longing and desire. "I can't wait to see you this weekend," one message read. "Bethany's ill, so I am free all weekend." Another one said, "I am thinking of you every moment of every day. I'm so tired of pretending." The world swam before my eyes. Gareth from Bakery Supplies. The man who delivered the flour and sugar every Tuesday morning, the man I had always been polite to. The man Imogen had always dismissed as just the delivery guy. He was her lover, her confidant, the one she had been betraying me with for God knows how long. Rage, raw and untamed, surged through me. I wanted to scream, to smash things, to confront Imogen then and there, but I knew that wouldn't solve anything. I needed a plan, a way to expose her deceit, to make her pay for the pain she had inflicted upon me. I spent the rest of the night pacing the floor, my mind racing, formulating a strategy. The next morning I acted as if nothing had happened. I made Imogen breakfast, wished her a good day at work, and even offered to pick up Gareth's delivery later that week. She seemed surprised by my sudden affability, but she didn't question it. She was too preoccupied with her illicit rendezvous to notice the storm brewing beneath my calm exterior. My first step was to contact a private investigator. I found one online, a discreet and professional woman named Braunt. I met her at a coffee shop in a nearby town about my suspicions, the messages, the anniversary weekend. She listened intently, her expression sympathetic. "I can get you the proof you need, Aelric," she said, "but it won't be cheap." I didn't care about the money. I just wanted the truth, no matter the cost. Braunt and her team worked quickly and efficiently. They tracked Imogen's movements, documented her meetings with Gareth, and even managed to obtain photographic evidence of their affair. The photos were graphic, undeniable. Imogen and Gareth, locked in passionate embraces, holding hands, sharing intimate moments. Each image was a dagger to my heart, a confirmation of my worst fears. Armed with the evidence, I confronted Imogen. I waited for her to come home from work, the photos spread out on the kitchen table. She walked in, her smile faltering as she took in the scene. "What's this?" she asked, her voice trembling. I didn't say a word. I simply gestured to the photos. She stared at them, her face draining of color. "Aelric I," she stammered, but I cut her off. "Don't bother lying, Imogen. I know everything." Tears streamed down her face as she confessed. She admitted to the affair, claiming it had started months ago, a consequence of feeling neglected and unappreciated. She blamed me for her infidelity, accusing me of being too focused on my work, of not paying her enough attention. I listened in stunned silence, my anger slowly giving way to a profound sense of sadness. How could she twist the narrative to make me the villain, neglected, unappreciated? I finally said, my voice hoarse. "I've spent the last 20 years of my life devoted to you, Imogen. I've worked tirelessly to provide for you, to make you happy. And this is how you repay me. By betraying me, by lying to me, by destroying everything we've built together." She sobbed uncontrollably, begging for forgiveness, promising to end the affair, to make things right. But it was too late. The trust was broken, irrevocably shattered. There was no going back. "I want a divorce, Imogen," I said, my voice firm. "I want you out of my life." She pleaded, she begged, she threatened, but my decision was final. I had endured enough. I was done with her lies, her deceit, her betrayal. The divorce was messy and acrimonious. Imogen fought me every step of the way, demanding a large settlement, claiming she was entitled to half of everything I owned. I refused to back down. I presented the evidence of her affair in court, exposing her lies and her infidelity to the world. The judge ruled in my favor, granting me a generous settlement and full ownership of our cottage. Imogen, stripped of her dignity and her financial security, was left with nothing. Gareth, predictably, abandoned her as soon as the affair was exposed. She tried to contact me to apologize, to reconcile, but I refused to speak to her. I had moved on, determined to rebuild my life without her. I sold the cottage in the Cotswolds, the place that held so many painful memories, and moved to London, seeking a fresh start. I threw myself into my work, immersing myself in complex coding projects, finding solace in the logical and predictable world of computers. I started taking evening classes in photography, a long-dormant passion I had neglected for years. I made new friends, explored new hobbies, and slowly began to heal. One evening, a few months after the divorce was finalized, I received a phone call from Braunt, the private investigator. "Aelric, I have some information you might be interested in," she said. "It concerns Imogen." My heart sank. I didn't want to hear anything about her, but curiosity got the better of me. "What is it?" I asked. "Gareth has left her. Apparently he was married the whole time and his wife found out about the affair. She's taken him for everything he's got. I felt a pang of something. Not sympathy exactly, but a flicker of recognition. Imogen had been betrayed just as she had betrayed me. And, I asked, bracing myself for the worst. Well, it seems Gareth and his wife owned a small bakery supply company, the one Imogen was using for the bakery. With Gareth gone, the company went bankrupt. Bethany, Imogen's friend, lost her job. The bakery closed. Imogen is now unemployed and has nowhere to go. Karma, it seemed, had finally caught up with her. But instead of feeling vindicated, I felt empty. Her misfortune didn't bring me joy, it didn't erase the pain she had caused me. It simply confirmed the futility of revenge, the hollow satisfaction of seeing someone else suffer. "Thank you, Braun," I said, my voice weary. "I appreciate you letting me know." I hung up the phone and stared out the window at the city lights, reflecting on the events of the past year. I had lost my wife, my home, my sense of security. But I had also gained something: a newfound sense of self-reliance, a deeper understanding of my own strength, and a quiet determination to live a life of authenticity and integrity. A few weeks later, I was walking through Borough Market when I saw her. Imogen. She was sitting on a bench, looking pale and gaunt, her fiery red hair dull and lifeless. She was wearing a threadbare coat and clutching a paper cup, begging for spare change. I hesitated, torn between anger and compassion. I could have walked past her, pretended I didn't see her, but something stopped me. I approached her cautiously. "Imogen," I said softly. She looked up, her eyes widening in surprise. "Aelric," she whispered, her voice barely audible. I knelt down beside her. "How are you?" I asked, knowing the answer already. She shook her head, tears welling up in her eyes. I have nothing, Aelric. I've lost everything." I reached into my pocket and pulled out a handful of coins. I pressed them into her hand. "Here," I said. "Get yourself something to eat." She looked at the coins, then back at me, her expression a mixture of shame and gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered. I stood up and turned to walk away. "Aelric," she called after me. "I am sorry. I am so sorry for everything I did." I stopped, but I didn't turn around. "I know," I said, "just to make better choices." And with that, I walked away, leaving her sitting there alone, a broken and defeated woman. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel vindicated. I simply felt sad. Sad for the life we had lost, sad for the choices we had made, sad for the pain that had consumed us both. Life isn't always about revenge. It's about moving forward, learning from the past, and striving to be a better version of yourself. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that I will never again allow myself to be defined by someone else's betrayal. I am Aelric, and I am a survivor.